Now I get to introduce Stephen to you. Stephen is also a nerd of his own, in his own right, but he is entertaining, and he is really big-hearted. And he can take things like neuroscience and make them feel very layman and very practical and very down to earth, and something that you can use and don't feel intimidated by. And so I'm really excited. He's going to, I think, talk about mood and some really interesting things. I always come away learning something from him. So, Stephen Hager.
Thank you. Thank you. I chose this subject because I want to teach you how to experience peak performance more often in your life. And I want to learn more about peak performance. I want to learn how to be calm and focused in everything that I do in life. Everything. Not just public speaking and workshops, but also cooking, playing tennis, and riding my 125cc motor scooter through the Grafton countryside. So I know that also teaching is the highest form of learning. So that's a learning point for you. So if you want to learn something, teach it. That's the highest form. I know for sure that being calm and focused is a key quality for peak performance. You've got to be calm and focused. And I know that when I'm not calm and focused, I get really stressed. I start to hold my breath. I shallow breathe. And Dr. Dan knows all about that, the oxygen thing to the brain. Stress sets in. Subpar performance kicks into the place, and you're not really feeling very good about the whole thing. So are you all ready to, and hopefully, are you moderately calm and focused to learn how to be more calm and focused? Yes? So good. Thank you. This is a condensation, the next 20 minutes of actually a 4-hour workshop. So I'll be occasionally looking at a few notes because I'm a global thinker. So I jump around a lot, and it's easy for me to go off track. So occasionally I'm going to look down at my notes. Now I'm going to make this as experiential as possible for you today. So I'm going to be asking you some questions. I'm going to be asking you questions because it doesn't make any sense for me to teach you what you can already know and can teach each other. So I'm going to be asking you some open-ended questions. Are you ready to begin? Oh, great. Thank you. So the first question is, what is peak performance? What comes to mind to you when you think about peak performance in your life? So I'll listen attentively. We don't have microphones out, but I'll repeat it to the group. So I'm looking for some. Yes.
It's about a half hour after the second cup of coffee.
Okay. Did you hear that? It's a half hour after the second cup of coffee, meaning that you are awake and alert and charged up, right? You all agree with that? Okay. What else?
Your little tagline: "Be the best you can be."
Oh, be the best you can be. Thank you. That's excellent. What else? Thank you.
Clicking on all cylinders.
Clicking on all cylinders. Right. And that's being kind of a part of being the best you can be. Anything else?
You're so confident that it's just natural.
Yeah. So peak performance is really authenticity, being your natural self.
You know your material.
And you're competent.
Yeah.
All right. We could almost conclude right here. This is very good because you've got all the key learning points. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add 3 key points to the ones you've added. All right? So your definition is ultimately the most important because that's your meaning. Being the best you can be was already mentioned, right, by one of you. So thank you very much. So being the best you can be is sort of our company mantra, and it's a relative thing, because remember, we're all works in progress, every one of us. And through the power of neuroplasticity, we can always change. So if you want to change your life, you have to change your thinking. All right? So I'd like to jump to the bottom one, and then, because I'm global, we'll keep it interactive here. Continuous learning is the way in which we continue to be the best we can be, and to continue raising the bar through the power of neuroplasticity. So it's alive and well within us all, regardless of our age and regardless of our physical conditions. So as long as you can take a breath and exhale it and think, you can change your life. Now, the middle one is a tipping point for peak performance. And it may be something a little new and perhaps even counterintuitive. So you decide whether or not this is a tipping point. So when you expand your thinking to other people, the whole dynamics change. So it's the shift from me, wonderful me, to we, wonderful us. So when you begin to shift that focus from me to us, that's where the magic occurs. That's where the synergy occurs. And it not only can bring out the best in you, but also the best out in other people. And we'll be returning to that principle because it is a key factor. Okay. The next question. What are the key qualities and conditions for peak performance? What does it take? I heard earlier from Josh that a cup of coffee helps to get you on the full cylinders and to get you keyed up. So what are the internal and external conditions for peak performance? What are your ideas on that, please?
A clear sense of purpose.
A clear sense of purpose, yes, that's excellent. Okay. What else?
Practice.
Practice. Oh,
Repetition.
absolutely. You may find that on my list. Thank you. What else?
A healthy body.
Oh, yeah, that's a great one. Really, a healthy body. Yeah, healthy body. Yes?
Self-awareness.
And self-awareness of? Self-awareness of?
The potential.
Your potential. Okay.
So it's the title of your presentation, but being focused on one thing, I think, is key. And
Yes.
studies have shown that multitasking, the more multitasking you add on at the same time, the lower your performance is.
Absolutely. You're great. We could stop here again. Really, we could. So, again, your ideas are the most important, and it shouldn't be any surprise that Carmen focuses on that because that's the title of the talk: how to be calm and focused for peak performance. So the middle condition, passionate, is another tipping point. All right. Because neuroscience rule number one is that the brain only engages with things that provide value and good outcomes. What's in it for me? And you know that from training experiences. You're compelled to go to a training, but you're sitting there and zoning out. But you're only going to engage in things in which there is great value. So with the passion, how can you possibly exceed and excel in anything unless you're passionate about it? How can you experience joy and energy and fun and stay with it and build competencies and get natural and continually to raise the bar and to be the best you can be without being passionate about it? And that's a key factor for anything in life. And we're going to look at very, very simple ways in which you can get in touch with what you're passionate about. Because so many of us have gotten lost in life with what we are truly passionate about. We've lost that childhood joy of life. and joy. And it's so simple to do. So I'm going to invite and challenge all of you to do that today. Obstacles. What are the obstacles to peak performance? What keeps you from being the best you can be?
Procrastination.
Oh, procrastination, yes.
Self-talk.
Self-talk, negative self-talk, is that what you're referring to? I'm not good, not good enough, don't have the time, blah, 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 okay.
Low self-esteem.
No, low self-esteem, that's a great one, sir. Yes, thank you. And another one?
Listen, others tell you can't do it.
What is that, please?
And others, people say it can't be done.
Oh, I can't be done, yeah, okay. You can't do that. Okay, right?
Not being organized?
Not being organized, sure, okay.
Interruptions.
Okay. Interruptions, sure, So we all want to leapfrog those things, right? So being calm and focused can help leapfrog that, right? And maybe passion can do that too. So here are some of my ideas along with your ideas. I want to work backwards. The bottom one really should be pretty obvious. It's all too often that people forget that practice makes perfect. So if you're passionate about something, the truth is you automatically will gravitate towards self-improvement and learning, continuous learning and practice and doing it. So a good litmus test is unless you're continuously learning and improving, you're not passionate about it. If you're passionate about it, you do it naturally. So don't worry about it. Look at it as a gift and say, well, what am I passionate about? So you do it naturally. So when you strengthen your neural pathways and learn and take in sensory information and think of it and think about it and process it and practice it and do it and say it and look at it and smell it and taste it if you're a cook, your neural pathways are going to get continuously stronger and stronger. So you're building a huge root system that is your guidance system for life. So, and if you don't practice, then you're going to have subpar performance and stress. But if you're passionate about something, it happens automatically. So one of the takeaways, I hope, is for you to focus in on what you're passionate about in life. Okay. So remember this dynamic balance between you and me as being a tipping point. So when you're self-centered and just thinking about you, I mean, how likely is it for other people to connect with you and support you? I mean, hopefully you know that I care about you. And I'm trying to help you. So that makes me not center on me, but you. And then it makes it simpler for me not to be stressed out and worried about me fussing and fumbling and saying the perfect thing. So the whole shift and the dynamic shift when you think about other people. So it has to do with finding the intersection point between you and me, the intersection point. And that's the ideal place. That's the sweet spot. Okay? So negative moods, you know, we all know that that negative moods are a deal killer. We know what it feels like. So I want to move on now to the solutions. I want to go directly into the practical neuroscience solutions. We're going to go through 3 of those, 3 sets, and then we're going to do a summary. So here are the steps to get and stay calm. First of all, you got to be aware of your mood state. It's kind of like doing a pre-flight check before you get into an airplane. You've got to check on your emotional state and your physical state. So if you're in a negative mood and feeling poor, you don't get into the pilot seat. Otherwise, you're likely to crash and burn. Now, if you have a physical problem, you got to take care of that first. Got to absolutely take care of that first. If you're in a negative mood, you got to take care of that. And here are some simple things to do. The first thing to do is to be kind to yourself and others. recognize that you and others are a work in progress and doing the best you can, although it may not seem that way sometimes, in the present moment. So it does no good to condemn, to judge, to be unkind, to attack, or to defend. It does no good to anyone. It's a dead-end street. So I believe, from my own experience and through observation, is that being kind to yourself and being kind to the other person or persons, cutting them a little slack, is a universal remedy to getting calm and to get to a higher place. The other thing you can do when you're stressed out is you can do deep breathing and movement. It's the oxygen thing. Because usually when you're stressed out and in a moody state, you're holding your breath or shallow breathing. And you need oxygen to the brain to have clear thinking. Also, it's good to move, take a walk, do some exercising, because not only is it a distraction, but it's the oxygen thing again, too. And you can take some nice ice water. Why ice water instead of regular water? Well, because there's more oxygen in water, cold water, than there is hot water. So ice water gives you more oxygen to do that. The other thing that's really, really important is number 4 and 5. And that is the brain, the penthouse of the brain, the neocortex, is attracted to music, art, and nature. And negative emotions don't live up there. So a way to press the mood elevator and get you up to the penthouse is to listen to some uplifting music. It's to look at some inspiring art or nature. The brain likes that. So push that button, you can get on up that. If you haven't tried it, if you're skeptical, try it and let me know how well it works. I guarantee you it works. So you can do a combination or any of these things. So let's look at some more strategies. How to get passionate. Remember that your brain only engages in that which is valuable. I'm going to say a very controversial thing right now. You probably haven't heard it before, or maybe you have, but I feel it's really, really important. And that is also, for passion, check in with your heart. Your heart never lies. What is your heart? What does your heart really, really want to do? So the operative question to ask is, what gives me joy and pleasure and fun, like a child? Because as soon as that becomes identified, your brain will kick automatically in gear and do all the organizational left brain kind of stuff and set the plans in place. So this should really be the command center, and the brain should be reporting to the heart. And most often the brain reports to itself and often disconnects from the heart. But the heart is actually a far more powerful electromagnetic organ than the brain. So this should be reporting to this as a servant. The other 2 and 3 are very obvious. Once you know what you're passionate about, you need to grow it. And when you're the source of other people's needs and include them in on what you're passionate about, the learning process increases. And when you become the source of other people's needs as well as yours, that's where really the magic and the synergy occur. So how to get focused? Here's a key question. What's in it for the beneficiaries? That's another aspect of the dynamic balance. It's a litmus test on your thinking. It's a quality control test on what you're going to be doing when you're working and with others or teaching or role modeling. How will other people benefit from what I'm doing? Because it's not only what you're doing, it's how you're doing it, and then the energy of what you're doing impacts on people around you. You know how that is when there's a cranky person in the cubicle next to you or in the family. It rubs off on you. So think about that. So delivering it the way they get it is when you are role modeling and teaching and helping other people. Make it a cooperative effort. It's not about just you. Make it a joint thing. Make it a sharing thing where you ask open-ended questions and you make it sort of a community type of a project. So, summary. When you connect your brain with your heart, you're going to get peak performance every time, because your heart's going to be your GPS and your brain's going to be the servant. It's going to do all the work. You need to have them hold hand in hand. So it's not all this, not all this. It's a matter of cooperation and collaboration between your passion and then how to experience it. So I want you to hopefully recognize that peak performance is an inside game. It starts with you. You're responsible for it. And you can trust your heart. You can trust your brain. And if in doubt, go here. I think this is what you can trust more than this. But you can trust both if they're working together well. So it's a journey. Being the best you can be is a relative thing. And I will close. If you liked what you heard today, please take a look at our website. It's New Identity. It's spelled N-E-U, like neuroscience, neuroplasticity, neurodiversity. Please visit it. The core product on it is a Brain Pathways report that gives you what your brain strengths are so you can leverage it for life success. There's interesting blog articles and videos. This one will be posted on there as well. And I thank all of you very much for your time and attention and participation. I learned a lot from you. That was one of my goals. I hope you've learned a little bit today from each other and from me. Thank you so much.